What Devin defines is a talent that is in your face, willing to fight all of the competition. No politics, no games. Devin is the real deal, and for that, I know this sport is it's a small, tight-knit sport, and they know who's the real fighter, and who's really bringing it at this time. And I would have to say that Devin, out of all the fighters, Devin is ready to step up to any challenge.
Now, speaking of Alvarez, like you did, obviously the young gun he has trained alongside him is Ryan Garcia. Mm-hmm. And he could become the mandatory if he wins his fight, and should Devin win his fight. Does that fight at all, he's promoted by Oscar, and Devin gets the comparisons to Floyd. Does that fight stylistically remind you of Mayweather De La Hoya at all?
Absolutely. I mean, it has all the makings of a big mega event. The Garcias have did a tremendous job in terms of moving Ryan. He's getting just as much hate as he's getting love, which is the signs of a superstar. You know what I mean? And shout out to everything that the Garcias is doing. And like I said, those are big fights that are on the horizon. Should Devin just handle his business on Saturday?
What do you think people will be saying after Saturday, after the performance you believe Devin will put in?
Well, they'll say, like they're all saying, that Devin is the biggest ticket to any one of those fighters in the lightweight division. And as far as I know, you know what I mean, Devin is the only one that's calling everybody out. So, he'll make a great event with any of them.
We've also seen Adrien Broner in the news lately. One good thing that kind of came out of everything was he mentioned a January 16th fight, and then he mentioned coming down back to this division, 135 pounds. Him and Devin have even talked about it before in the past. What do you think about AB's situation, and then maybe even fighting them sometime in 2021?
Well, all respects to AB, and I look forward to him getting back in the ring and doing his thing. But at this level of play and at this time, I mean, these young guns are in there and they're putting in the work, and they deserve the credit, and they deserve the fights, and they deserve the kind of paydays that become legendary. Devin is in the ring. He's called out, and talked about doing something with Adrien on a number of different occasions. But I mean, I think we've now, moved on, and we really want to take over this sport and show you really how it's supposed to be done.
You mentioned the young guns. Does that, and you talking about Adrien Broner, what about also Mikey Garcia? Just to put those two names out there, it's harder to get these young guys to take the fight.
No mistake about it. I respect what Adrien Broner has done in the sport. He's a legend in the sport. But as of now, he's not as active. He's more inactive than active. So but as far as Mikey Garcia, now you're talking about something altogether different. You're talking about a hell of a world champion, a warrior. And not to throw any shade at Broner, it's just the fact that Mikey Garcia is active now. Should I see a fight or of something of substance that Broner is involved in, then I could think something else different. But seeing Mikey Garcia and Jesse Vargas, I know Mikey is very much active right now as a fighter, and that's an event that we also look forward to being a part of.
And you were at that fight ringside with Dev, right?
Absolutely. I was tuned in. I was watching a hell of a warrior in Mikey and a hell of a warrior in Vargas. And they went at it. They went toe to toe down there in Texas, and I got a chance to see it. It was a hell of an event put on by DAZN. And that's one of a potential opponents that I look forward to maybe doing something with that down the road.
I remember fighters like De La Hoya and Floyd and several others that they would be talking about the next several potential fights they could have before a fight, and they'd go on to win the fight in front of them, by knockout, looking impressive. How are you able? How do you think you guys will be able to do that? Where, honestly speaking, you're looking forward to big fights, but still not distracted to where you don't take care of business in front of you.
I mean, you have warriors like Gamboa, and other fighters that when the champions aren't answering the call, don't want to make the fight happen, then you have to take what's in front of you. And Devin is doing a good job at staying focused and dealing with Gamboa. because he is the person that challenged him, and no disrespect towards him. You know, we just handle our business on Saturday, and then, you know, we look to you know, be challenged or make a big fight with Lopez for the other 3 belts.
Is that something that'll frustrate you with anybody who's talking about Gamboa, where it's like, you know, the Campbell fight went to Garcia, the Lopez Loma, they fought each other, Linares and Fortuna wind up fighting each other, so it's like, who else could there have really possibly have been in the division to make a credible fight? Do you have any frustration with anybody picking on the opponent?
Well, absolutely, because, you know, preparation for a fight, you know, begins, you know what I mean, long before we get a chance to see it even being announced. You know, for a fight to get put on, you know, you have to have more. And
I forgot Gary Russell too.
Yeah.
That's another.
Just like Gary Russell, you know, that's an example of a fight that, you know, we tried to put on, and he wasn't ready and prepared to fight on that given time. To get a fighter and to have a fighter, you know, during quarantine and all these things, man, it takes a hell of a warrior. And we don't slight the Gamboa team by any stretch. You know, we're happy that, you know, they stepped up and challenged him, and we look forward to, you know, someone else stepping up and challenging for the WBC belt. Devin has the hardware, you know, as you can see. So I mean, it's not about us necessarily chasing everybody down. You know, it's hard to like Brian Garcia's dad talked about. You know, we're not chasing him. We never chased him, right? We talked about making a big fight with him, and we have the belt. But if he's, of course, not interested in the fight, and he's more interested in the fight down the road, then, you know, let him get himself together, you know. But portraying an image like you're ready, and even if you with Coach Reynoso or Alvarez, a superstar, and Alvarez, you got to be ready. And Devin is around a lot of people, you know, a lot of great people, but he's ready to fight now, and that's what makes him different. That's what distinguishes him from everybody else, is that he's able to make the adjustment with any fighter at any given time.
Do you think it's possible that with what's happened with Alvarez and the need of the zone to have big fights in America with him gone, that maybe the zone can give a huge offer that would make a Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy take that fight when they normally wouldn't, or to make it happen sooner than when you're talking, like you said, because maybe they feel that fight's not ready right now, but maybe DAZN can make it make sense for everybody.
Well, we have a great relationship with DAZN. I mean, we've presented fights, and they've bought the fights that we've presented to them from a DHP and a Matchroom agreed standpoint. So I have nothing bad to say about them as far as now. I think that they definitely have the wallet and the infrastructure to make some of the big fights happen that they've made happen in the last year or two that they've been in the business that I've known of.
Like you said, you're not chasing anybody like that, but if a Ryan Garcia doesn't take the fight now, how do you move in this landscape then, when guys are on the other side of the street, like everyone says, and Garcia is on this side of the street, but that fight can't happen yet? How do you move to get the big fights that you want?
I mean, when you have the big fighter and you are the big fighter, then you move accordingly. You move how you move, you know, and that's just what we're doing. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're bullying the bullies. We came in as an independent company, and you know, and people thought, you know, they laughed, they joked, they said, "What are we doing in Mexico?" But now, I mean, now you're taking it serious, you know, and we're here, and we're not playing.
And at 21 years of age, time is on your side, isn't it? For if these guys want to, if anybody wants to take time, you can't age them out, or you can't wait forever. That's what Devin says. You know, they can't do it forever if guys don't want to fight them now.
Well, Devin is a star. He's always showed the star qualities and characteristics. It's only a matter of time before the world gets a chance to see what I've been seeing for many, many years. I've been seeing the confidence in this kid. I've been seeing athleticism. I've been seeing desire. I've been seeing passion. He's everything that I know the people in the world is going to get a chance to see soon.
What do you think people will connect with him on a personable level outside the ring? What do you think young people, people will connect with him about?
I mean, because he's a hard working kid, you know what I mean, and he's humble, He's about his business, and he's trying to groundbreak and trailblaze ways for other youngsters his age to do things that aren't, you know, in the streets and aren't, you know, aren't traditional, more of a non-traditional. The way that he's taken this sport of boxing and, you know what I mean, helped his family and, you know, put everything on his back as a young boss, you know, is commendable. And I think youngsters get a chance to see it, and then they're like haters, like older people, you know what I mean, who are more stiff and rigid and not understanding that it's a whole new day and a whole new way of doing things.
Right. It's like there's different types of personalities getting over, you know, to the youth now. That you know, guys like Kawhi Leonard is a personality kids look up to now, where before he'd have just been a quiet guy. You know, lots of different types of personalities that.
Right.
So what I'm getting at is people, they seem to always think especially if you're a young African American fighter, you're going to have to act a certain way to connect to the public. I know Andre Ward's talked about that. That's something he's brought it up, but
well, you're talking about other fighters that had different swag. You know, Dev and DHP, we represent this shit. We represent this fly shit, this bossy shit, the shit that, you know what I mean, is what the millennials like, you know. And we didn't have no big old bag of nobody helping us. We didn't have Floyd or, you know, Bob Arum or, you know what I mean, Al Heyman or none of that. You know what I'm saying? We got it out the mud, you know. So they know really what's happening, and we're on top of the game. And we've been on top of the game and running this shit the whole year. You know what I mean? Up until this fight, that Devin been the most talked about and most covered fight, but most covered fighter. But that's a tribute to our hard work at DHP and what we've been doing, and not what the other fighters need help doing. Other fighters might need a help from Bob. You might need help from Al. You know, you might need help from you know, Oscar or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, but you know, we don't. You know what I'm saying? We push this shit. Devin is a real fighter. You know what I mean? He's the best fighter on the planet. Skill for skill. You know what I mean? And when he gets his opportunity to show you, you're gonna see. And you know, Saturday night is the beginning of, you know, Devin's coming out party.
He was watching Crawford Gamboa last night. Did you catch that fight as well? I know he was watching it. But.
Absolutely. He was watching Crawford and Gamboa.
What'd you think of that fight when you went back and watched it?
I mean, you know, you'll see. You'll see that on Saturday, and then we can talk about it.